Eagles fans, y'all know how we get down, as you guys can already see. My man, Philly Foothills from the Nest Out West, with your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports Philly, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. This is a very early pregame show that we're giving you guys. The game starts at 4 o'clock. The Philadelphia Eagles face off in Las Vegas against the Raiders, and this is a must-win game. Foothills, go ahead, man. Spill your guts, man. Let the people know what's going on.
What's good? What's going on? What's cracking, everybody? Like you said, it's your boy Philly Foothills out here in the Nest Out West, holding it down for Eagles Nation out here in California. And I very much agree with you, Tone. It is definitely a must-win today. Like you said, pre-show, we can't be messing around with our food today. The Eagles got to go in and get the jump on the Raiders, get an early lead, and build on it from there. You know, we can't be playing catch-up football against a team like this. And, you know, the coaching staff there has to be some big changes made on offense. There really does. You know, we have to start running the ball more. We can't just keep putting the ball in Jalen Hurts' hand, because literally he's accountable for 80% of the offense right now, and that's just not going to get it done. He's way too young and inexperienced.
I agree with you. Yeah, when you put it that way, the fact that he's accountable for 80% of the offense, that's in football, that's just completely unheard of. I understand he's a dual threat quarterback. I understand he brings a lot to the table, skill set wise. Just a natural athlete. But at the end of the day, this is the NFL, and the NFL is more of a head game than an athleticism game when you really boil it down to it, because you can be an athletic freak. You can be as special athletically as you want, but if you're making boneheaded plays, or if you just don't have the experience to back up that athleticism, you're always bound to make mistakes. Athleticism only gets you but so far in the NFL. You have to be a heady player. You have to be instinctual. You have to have experience to build on. We see time and time again guys who are really talented in this league. They have natural ability. They get certain wins, but when they come across that one quarterback or that one opponent that challenges them intellectually as a player, they kind of get exposed a little bit, and you're kind of reminded that they're still fairly early in their career. Think about the matchup between the Baltimore Ravens and the Los Angeles Chargers, I think a week or so ago. The Baltimore Ravens just completely took it to those guys, and the Chargers only registered 6 points. So, and Justin Herbert's been on a tear this year. Justin Herbert is like the hottest thing moving right now when it comes to quarterbacks. So, but Lamar Jackson, he's the young veteran, so to speak, a former MVP, supremely talented. The numbers don't lie. So when you think about it like that, it's like, at the end of the day, experience and knowledge will always trump pure talent and athleticism. And in my humble opinion, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to agree with that, definitely, because we've kind of seen it so far with this team, in several aspects, in my opinion. So the fact that it really drove me crazy. Miles Sanders literally only had one rushing attempt in the first half against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Unacceptable.
It's just completely unacceptable. And it's a recipe for disaster, especially with this young quarterback and this young receiving core. And I'm going to keep saying that, because if they're really trying to win right now, they are doing pretty much the exact opposite on offense, what they need to win football games. And that's being at least competitive in time of possession. I mean, they're getting teams like Carolina, teams like Tampa Bay, teams like San Francisco, Kansas City, pretty much everybody we've faced in the last several weeks are just killing us in time of possession.
Yeah.
They're running the ball down our throats. They're having long drives down the field on multiple occasions. And we're not able to we're not able to compete with that, especially on offense right now. You know, our offense is lacking a lot of confidence, and that has to do that kind of all stems back to the coaching, in my opinion. Right now, the play calling is just subpar, and they're not utilizing this team the way they can. You know, we've seen it later in games. We're able to run the ball. I don't know if that has to do with the defense having some of their backup players in at that point because we're really playing catch up ball in a lot of these games. But either way, we got to commit more to the run game. We got to at least try. We really do.
Yeah, and that's the sad part, right? The running game, running the ball is not an option. We can't afford to keep putting ourselves in these positions to not be in control of the rock. Too often, time of possession is being dictated by the other team. Too often, the pace of the game is being dictated by the other team, and that's really what's important. If we're being honest, the pace of the game, most of these losses that we've accumulated, it seems like the game has always gotten away from us in some respect.
Yeah.
The game has always been decided by what the opponent's doing, what the opponent is doing, not what we're doing. And that can always hurt your young football team. See, this is a young football team that's going to rely on momentum. They're going to rely on their talent, and you have to rely on what they actually have and what they actually can do. You can't just try to jam in this style of football when we're passing on 70 to 80% of our snaps. They're not that talented yet in terms of just being able to beat guys that have more experience than them. You think about Devontae Smith when he went up against, I believe it was Josh Norman. What game was that? Who were we playing against?
For the 49ers.
49ers.
Mhm.
Josh Norman sort of gave Devontae Smith a little trouble. And we did nothing to help those guys. We did
Right.
nothing to help the quarterback in any way. We're not running the ball. Running the ball will almost always set up the pass. No matter where football goes, no matter how finesse of a game football has become, running the ball will always set you up. If you're a team that has a strong running game, you will always have a serviceable passing game.
Right.
It's very simple.
Yeah. And that's running the ball in standard, in more standard formations, not in these RPOs, because if we can start running the ball out of formation, out of maybe some split back sets with Gainwell, maybe even have Jack Stolen as a fullback. He is we've had him sometimes in on goal lines and things like that. I think that's something that maybe they need to look further into because he is very good at blocking, and I think he can maybe fill a role there. If we need extra blocking on run plays, if that's what they're worried about, because we can't continue to just ignore the run game and act like this offense is gonna get somewhere each and every week. This scheme that they're putting out there right now is very, very predictable, and it's so unbalanced. I think we're one of the most unbalanced offenses in the NFL, if not the most unbalanced. And that's just a recipe for disaster for not only Jalen Hurts, but just for this football team in general, because our defense is strong on the line, pretty strong in the back end, pretty strong in the middle, the linebacker position. Right now, no, it's very subpar, and it's I've been saying this last couple of live streams that it's not really that special when your leading tackle on your leading tackler on your defense is your linebacker, but pretty much every tackle he's making is he's landing on his rear end, getting run over, and it's usually beyond the first down marker. So
Right. You definitely saw it in the Tampa Bay game.
right,
Leonard Fournette was just putting this linebacker core on a platter.
oh
And
yeah,
I was watching some of the all 22, and all
he
you
was putting those
saw,
guys on a school bus out there. Literally, he was putting them on a school bus and running them over like a bus.
literally,
Yeah,
literally. And on top of that, you didn't see these linebackers running downhill. You saw plenty of opportunities for those guys to blow up plays in the backfield. They did not take the lane.
right.
They didn't adjust. They just didn't. They just weren't aggressive enough or playing downhill. I don't understand it. I don't know if that's talent. I don't know if that's instincts. I don't know. I don't know if those guys have been trained to just wait until the guys get to their level and rely on the defensive line to stop them. I don't know.
Maybe their
But this
linebacker
defense,
coach is too young. Remember how young he is. Remember,
right? You're absolutely right. And I don't think that gets discussed enough.
Right.
It's already a problem that we lack talent at the linebacker position, but now we lack experience when it comes to the coach in the linebacker position. And that's a recipe for disaster when you think about it in the long term. And I don't think we considered that too fully before the season even started. I think most of us were pretty just excited to get this season started. We were excited that we had a new coaching staff. We were just excited about the new. But I don't think we really did our due diligence and looked at the fact that, okay, our linebackers are pretty much the same linebackers we had last season. And our linebackers have sucked for the past 3 or 4 seasons, maybe longer than that. And all of a sudden you bring in this really young linebacker coach who's younger than some of his players. And what can you expect? That's the thing. What can you expect from a guy who lacks the experience at the coaching position? And then you got guys who also lack experience at the actual position. Alex Singleton is a guy that was he wasn't he wasn't highly touted early in his career. And TJ Edwards wasn't highly touted. Jannard Avery is a guy that has made boneheaded plays every now and again, but I guess statistically he has been one of our best linebackers. But Eric Wilson has been a disappointment. It's just that we don't have enough beef at the linebacker position. We don't have enough guys who are willing to just lay someone out. These guys have been getting run over and laid out all season, man, all season. Yeah. And that just brings me to my next point of guys getting laid out. Let's talk about this injury report because the injury report is very, very interesting when it comes to Philadelphia Eagles. For us, we're missing Anthony Harris. That is a huge, huge problem.
Yeah. It is because the Raiders have multiple weapons on the offensive side of the ball. They have the deep threat and Ruggs. They have the guys that can work the middle of the field like Waller, their tight ends. He's kind of that hybrid tight end / wide receiver because a lot of the time, or some of the time at least, they have him split out wide, like a wide receiver. And then they also have Hunter Renfrow, who is a very excellent route runner. He's very, very, he reminds me kind of like a Wes Welker type. He's very consistent, very crisp in his route running, and he's consistently open whether Carr decides to get him the ball. But if you look at a lot of their film, he gets open more times than not, and he's just another target for Carr to rely on, if he needs to. So, yeah, that, like you said, missing Harris is definitely going to be tough. Yeah, we did elevate Elijah Riley at the safety position from the practice squad, but he's obviously no Anthony Harris, and that there's going to be a lot on Rodney McLeod's shoulders to make sure that back end is running smoothly and guys are in the right position that they're supposed to be. Because not only is he going to, so he's with Anthony Harris being out, McLeod's got to take more onto his plate, right? He's got to step up as that veteran leader, and he's got to make sure that I don't think he has to worry necessarily as much about the the corners with Slay and Nelson and Maddox, but that other safety, if he's definitely got to make sure that these guys are on the right page. He's got to be communicating to some of these linebackers and things like that, just to make sure that everyone's on the right page, because we can't afford to make any mental errors. We can't afford to give them any easy yardage with penalties down the field. If guys are defensive holding, I don't want to see any of that today. Right. I just want to see, the good, for the most part. I think our secondary is held up pretty well this year, especially for the lack of quarterback pressure, the quarterback sacks that we've had this year.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like the DBs have typically been our weakness, right? But they've stepped up, in my humble opinion. I feel like the DBs have played a fairly good season. We've been getting constantly attacked at the linebackers. We've been constantly getting attacked in the intermediate in the passing game. No one really gets too many deep. No one gets too many deep passing plays on us. Not too many. And it's funny because the Raiders are one of the top teams when it comes to 20-yard plus pass plays. This is what they do. But we haven't given those kind of yardage up, if at all this season. That's just not something we do on a regular basis. But we've been getting creamed in the intermediate. Anything under 20 yards, anything that's linebacker, anything on that second level in between the numbers, we've been getting creamed. And it always goes back to the linebackers. The linebackers can't cover. They don't have any instincts in the passing game, if we're being honest. They don't run downhill enough on the running game. Our linebacker core is just lost, it seems, time and time again. And we're going to have a problem with Dan Waller. Now, right now, he's questionable, but I think he's going to play. It's a non-injury related thing, so I think he's going to end up playing. But the Las Vegas Raiders don't have any significant injuries really right now. They're not really missing anybody significant except for maybe Richard Incognito, who's on IR. They're missing who else they're missing? They're missing Jared McCoy, who's on IR at D tackle.
Right.
Who else are they missing?
Not a whole lot of big names.
Not a whole lot of big names, man. And they got that guy at right guard, Alex Leatherwood, who was a beast. So it's not going to be an easy job. It's not going to be an easy job for our D line. And I feel like at times we rely too heavily on the D line to get everything done, and that's not right to me. It's not sustainable. At some point, you're going to need your linebackers to come up and get some, give those guys some help. At some point, you might have to drop a safety in the box. You have to get creative on defense, especially you can't just. I feel like this defense hasn't changed, but so much. I feel like now we're just not stopping the run. At least with Jim Schwartz, we were a run-stopping team. You were not getting 100 yards regularly on this team. All of a sudden, this team seems like they lack toughness. Seems like they lack beef. It seems like they're small. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I'm wondering. You're speaking on the linebacking core, and I totally agree with you. That's a glaring weakness right now on this football team, and I'm kind of wondering, where's Jacoby Stevens? Where's Jacoby Stevens right now? Why isn't he on this roster right now? Why is he sitting on the practice squad? Because I know damn well he's got to be healthy by now, and he can't be much worse than what we have on this football team. And I think he would give us another piece that we can kind of use in that safety line, more of a linebacker, but he could also, play some safety as play in some coverage as well. So,
right.
It's very frustrating because we just continue. We have this GM, and I don't know if he's influenced by the owner or not in this category, but we have a front office, I'm going to say, that doesn't value the linebacker position at all. They just don't draft linebackers high in the draft. They don't really covet them in free agency. And when they do, they're usually misses. Like Eric Wilson's starting to, we were excited about him being on a 1-year deal with this team, but he's been ghostly mostly this year. He's been more
I like that. He's been mostly ghostly. I like that.
Mostly, yeah. I mean, where has he been at? Definitely, it's very frustrating because we're definitely lacking that run stopping ability and that I think this team could be more successful if we do start being more blitzes. Like you said, we're asking way too much on this defensive line, and they're showing that they can't consistently bring pressure with just the 4. So we have to find ways to find maybe a weakness in the opponent's offensive line, something like that, and try to target that and maybe send a blitz in that area or something like that a few times a game, because we got to find ways to get pressure on these quarterbacks. We can't expect NFL level quarterbacks to sit in a clean pocket and not beat us. More times than not, they're going to. And it doesn't really matter if they have a subpar receiving core or not. If Sam Darnold would have had a better game against us, Carolina would have beat us easily.
Oh yeah, most definitely. The defense bailed us out for the first time. Actually, let's be real. The DBs bailed us out. The DBs and the D line bailed us out because the linebackers were, in my opinion, not doing anything. Chuba Hubbard
And TJ Edwards on that pump block, he bailed us out.
Oh yeah, and TJ
Yeah.
Edwards on that pump block, yeah. But in all reality, the DBs and the D line built us out. The linebackers were kind of getting smacked around by Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
And I really believe that's why our running game is not it. Like, you have to ask, like, how will Jonathan Gannon's defense handle Henry Ruggs the third, that speed, Darren Waller, that size, that speed, and athleticism, and the other talented guys like you mentioned, Hunter Renfro. What's the other guy they have? Zay Jones. They also have Willie Snead the fourth, who he's a veteran, still able to get open. You know what I mean? So and then they got Josh Jacobs and King and Drake, that 1-2 punch. We have to be mindful, man. It's not going to be.
And they got Barber too. That's another running back they got.
Yep, Peyton Barber, sure do.
And he's a smacker. He's a tough runner. He's
very tough.
He's one of those guys that's like, he kind of reminds me of Deuce Staley a little bit. Not easy to tackle, plays with a lot of attitude and authority, doesn't shy away from contact. That type of runner, like a Derrick Henry. I mean, not nearly as good, but that type of physical type of running back that he's looking to run people over as opposed to run around them.
Big time. So yeah, like, what are your thoughts on just Henry Ruggs? Henry Ruggs is starting to come into his own this season. Henry Ruggs right now, I believe his stat line for the season is at. Let's make sure I'm accurate when I say this, because Henry Ruggs, he's a speed demon. Henry Ruggs right now has 20 receptions on 32 targets, 405 yards, averaging 22 yards a reception, 22 yards a catch. That is wild. That is wild. I mean, he's been their home run hitter this season.
Oh yeah, he's definitely their deep threat. He's going to take the top off of our defense. He's definitely going to stretch the field, and that's what I was saying. We need to be careful, and we need to just try to stay with them as much as we can, track the ball in the air, and not give up easy yardage down the field with defensive holding, with pass interferences, things like that, because they're definitely going to take their shots down the field. I know we've been saying this week in and week out, but football is predicated on this word, discipline. We got to be disciplined today. We definitely do. We can't be giving the Raiders any free penalty yardage. And it's it's kind of funny because I was thinking about this at breakfast this morning when I went out. Me and the missus just went out for a little bite to eat before I got on here with you. But I was thinking about this. The referees are highly known for throwing the flags a lot on both of these teams. So it's like they're going to be. I don't know if hopefully they're not going to be extra trigger happy today and with throwing the laundry in the air, because don't be surprised if you see a lot of penalties in this game.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The good thing so far is that the Philadelphia Eagles, they're actually trending downward with their penalties. I think last game we only had 4 penalties.
Yeah,
and
that's a good sign.
Yeah, last game we only had 4 penalties. Let me just make sure I'm accurate. I just want to make sure.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
I don't know. We had last game we had 4 penalties. Tampa Bay had 7. And then in week 5, we accumulated 6 penalties to Carolina's 9. So for 2 weeks in a row, we had less penalties than the opponent. Now in that Tampa Bay game, we got bailed out by a lot of penalties. The penalties sort of became the offense, right? The penalties were the only reason we were able to move the ball downfield at any point. We were completely castrated on the offense, and this is going to be such an important game for not just this defense, but this offense truly has to get things going. Like will Nick Sirianni finally play to this team's strengths? We've been talking about it time and time again. We're not playing to this team's strengths like we were sold or like we were told at the beginning of this season. We were told that we were going to be a very physical team. We were told that we were going to use guys to their strengths and put guys in the best positions to succeed, and we have not been doing that. That's just the ultimate reality. We have not put guys in the best positions to succeed. Putting this team in the best position to succeed is running the ball and then building off of the run to the pass. Miles Sanders is arguably our most talented offensive weapon outside of Devontae Smith. Let's be totally honest about that. And Dallas Goedert. Our top 3 weapons are Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and Miles Sanders in no particular order. And those guys, in my opinion, have not really been put in the best positions. Now, Devontae Smith is having a decent season. He should have way more touchdowns on the season, but I think 2 of them got called back. But Miles Sanders, he's the most glaring problem. And it's not even his fault. Miles Sanders only has 57, and I repeat, 57 attempts on the season. And right now, as far as his attempts go, he's ranked 32nd in the NFL in rushing attempts. That's basically last in the league when it comes to the starters. That is unacceptable. It makes any sense. He only has 270 yards, ranked 29th. He's he's averaging 4.7 yards a carry. That's 14th in the league. So he's top half of the league in yards per carry. He has no touchdowns at all. No touchdowns on the season. That is unacceptable. When you think about what Miles Sanders brings to the table, just how talented he is, like we can't keep having a guy this talented not getting the ball. It doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't. And if I'm Miles, if they continue to do this, I'll come free agency. I'm looking, if it's the same regime on this coaching staff, because I think I don't know how much longer we have him for, but I know it's getting somewhat close to the end of his rookie deal. But the fact is that if I'm Sanders, I'm looking to go elsewhere. I'm looking to go somewhere where they're going to utilize me to my full extent, because like we keep saying, he's he doesn't always break off the big runs, and sometimes he maybe gets tackled a little easier than you'd like him to. But the fact of the matter is, when it's all said and done, numbers don't lie, and the numbers that Tone just read off to you are extremely glaringly concerning, because we have an above average running back that we're just basically not even using. And it's a combination of the play calling. It's a combination of Jalen Hurts not trusting him, not trusting this offensive line, because the damn near the only time Miles Sanders gets a run call, even a chance to run the ball, is in the RPOs. And more times than not, Jalen's pulling the ball out, and he's either running it himself or he's looking to pass it.
Right.
So he's just not being utilized like he should, and it's a damn shame. It really is.
Yeah. And I understand people have an infatuation with Kenny Gainwell. I like Kenny Gainwell. Don't get it twisted. I feel like Kenny Gainwell is a big play waiting to happen. He's very versatile in the passing game. He can run damn near the entire route tree as a running back, which is a skill set in and of its own. But Miles Sanders is the more talented back right now. I'm sorry, he's the more talented back. He has the most experience, and he's just not getting the touches. And people are trying to say Kenny Gainwell's a better fit for this offense, blah, 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 blah. Maybe. But the bottom line is Miles Sanders, like, I understand his hands may not be as tight as Kenny Gainwell, but Miles Sanders can catch the ball. He can catch the ball. He may not have the full route tree at his disposal, but he can catch the ball. He can run a route if you tell him to. We've seen him run routes in the past. We've seen him catching balls from Carson Wentz on numerous occasions. Big plays at that. You know what I'm saying? We saw him catch that big play in the back of the end zone from Carson Wentz, when Carson Wentz threw that laser when we thought it was an interception, but ended up being a catch in the back of the end zone, the back corner of the end zone. We've seen Miles Sanders catch big plays from Carson Wentz in that Minnesota Vikings game, I believe. We lost it, but Miles Sanders had a pretty big touchdown. I think to end the first half or something like that. I think maybe a season or two ago. I can't really remember. But my thing is, we've seen Miles Sanders being used in the passing game. We've seen him be able to crack. Last season he had the most big plays of his career. I think he had about maybe like 4 or 5 runs of 60 or 70 yards or more, something like that. He has he has home run ability. Oh, yeah. We're not giving him the reps, and then we get mad at him for dancing a little bit behind the line of scrimmage. But at the same time, he's being patient, trying to find the hole, and the offensive line has not been being put in enough positions to run the ball. And we're expecting those guys to just stop backpedaling all game. Now you want them to go forward. There's no momentum in that. You have to get those offensive linemen going forward first,
Yes.
because our offensive line is taking too much punishment, too much on their back on their back foot, too much. They're having to keep up with these speed rushers. Why don't we try to put the defensive line, their defensive line on their back foot, and then we dictate the pace, we dictate the physicality of the game, we dictate the momentum. This is the problem we've had all season. This Philadelphia Eagles team has not been physical enough. We've not been tough enough. We've been we've been all finesse, and no beef. You know what I'm saying? I'm tired of the vegan football. I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm tired of this vegetarian style of football. We need to throw some pork on the grill. You feel what I'm saying? We need to throw some beef on the grill. We need to hit these guys with a slab of ribs. You get what I'm saying? Like these guys need to get going forward. Miles Sanders needs touches. Like if Miles Sanders has less than, maybe I'm being a bit overzealous, but if Miles Sanders has less than 20 rush attempts this game, I'm going to be very upset, because running the ball allows us to dictate the pace of the game. It allows us to maintain time of possession. It gives our defense a break, and it doesn't make Jalen Hurts feel like everything is on his arm and on his legs. It bothers me that he leads our team in rushing.
And you'll be surprised how much better he would look if he has a running game. Because Jalen Hurts, it's shown he's the most successful when he has a not only a decent, solid running game going, and then that translates into being able to run play action. And he's going to look so much more accurate, so much more consistently, just hitting guys downfield when he has the play action to be able to work through. And you have to have at least a threat of a run game to at least, to attempt to even run play action. If you don't, you're just as predictable as, if you're just running a standard play, in the shotgun, like you have been, like in your standard offense, basically. So, it's, 20, I think you're definitely, that's expecting quite a bit of a change. That's for sure. I would be happy.
I know.
I mean, I was thinking like 10.5, maybe. That's doable, possibly, but even if we get Miles 15 rushing attempts this game, that's at least an attempt to get this thing going in the right direction. Because and another thing too, when it comes to our problems when we come to get down to the goal line and not having a short yardage back, is Jordan Howard really that bad? Why is he just sitting on the practice squad? Because we have basically a ghost that hasn't barely even seen the field, except a couple of short receptions that he's made in Boston Scott. That's a roster spot right there. You put Boston Scott on the practice squad, bring Jordan Howard up. You have him for short yardage in the goal line. That he could bulldoze in a couple touchdowns maybe for us this season. It's definitely worth kicking the tires on it. And I don't know what the hell they're waiting for. And if this offense continues to be the same way it's been, I'm saying that they're losing on purpose, because either that or they're one of the worst. They're some of the worst coaches that have ever coached in the NFL, because even high school football coaches could see that this stuff is not working. You have to change it up. You have to switch them. You have to make some major changes on the offensive side of the football.
For sure. You think about some of the most talented teams, right? Think about you think about Tampa Bay. Like I said last week, they ran the ball tremendously with Leonard Fournette. They understand what they have back there. They know what they have back there, and they're thinking, why would I make my quarterback work any harder than he has to? Why would I try to make Tom Brady throw the ball 40, 50 plus times a game if I don't need to do that? If my running game is working, okay, I'm going to continue to run that ball. Have Tom Brady, take advantage of misdirection, take advantage of play action, get Tom Brady's arm involved when necessary. But
once they got a couple of deeper shots down the field with Godwin and with AB, with Antonio Brown, that opened up the middle of the field. And then when we started to maybe slow down the run game a little bit, they just countered that with using that short pass game, and they either used their tight ends or they were, Tom Brady was dumping the ball off to Fournette, just right in the middle of the field, wide open. No one's really even covering him. The linebackers are sitting way too far off the ball, off the line of scrimmage, and
So true.
giving up 5 to 8 yards of play, and that's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it against any team, especially the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you think about the Kansas City Chiefs. Edwards Hilaire had a day on us.
Oh yeah,
You know what I'm saying? They're running the ball as well.
7-8
It
yards
just
a clip. Yeah,
it's like you can
like
never
40
be
on there.
your team is never too talented, you're never too good to not run the ball. I don't care. Like it don't make sense. And Nick Sirianni is going to find himself out of a job if he keeps playing or if he keeps coaching like this. That's my God honest opinion. If he keeps coaching like this, he's gonna end up out of a job. And they're saying that he's not on a hot seat. They're saying I think Jay Glazer indicated that Nick Sirianni is not in the hot seat. It's already been indicated within their organization that he's here for he's going to be here at the very minimum for 2 seasons, and including this one. So we'll see. We're ultimately going to have to see what happens with
And
what happens.
all that is the front office not wanting to turn into the next Cleveland Browns. That's basically
Right,
all that is.
right.
They don't want to be the laughing stock of the NFL.
Big facts, big facts, and you know this team could be so much better if we just simplified the game. You said something earlier, running an I formation, maybe getting someone lined up at fullback. The odds of us saying that may be slim, but even the best teams are running out of power formations. The bottom line is you should never be too. Sometimes when you try to be too much finesse, sometimes when you try to overthink things, you end up getting punched in the mouth. And that's just that's what's been going on time and time again these past several weeks. You think about that win against the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, we won, but that didn't feel like a win to me. It felt like I was holding my breath the entire time, and then I was finally able to take a breath. In the final 30 seconds of the game. It's just not
Right.
once did I ever feel like we were in control of that game. Defense was just bailing out the offense time and time again, and then we had takeaways. If we don't get those takeaways, we lose that game. And I understand people love takeaways, but I don't want to have to rely on takeaways to win. I don't because they're instinct plays, they're bang bang plays, you can't really even bet on them. You can't predict them.
Right.
So
And you
I
said
don't
that the word you use is rely on. You can't rely on takeaways.
yeah.
You just can't because you never really know if they're going to come. Sometimes they come in waves. Sometimes you don't have one for a game or two. You just never really know. It kind of just it's all depend on how the game how it all plays out and how the opposing team's playing, things like that. Maybe the weather could be a factor. If it's raining, there might be more fumbles. There's going to be obviously less passing if it's windy. So, definitely there's a lot of factors that come into play.
Yeah, definitely. And also, you guys, make sure you guys hit that like button. Do not forget to hit the like button on both of our channels. Philly Foothills and I are live on both of our YouTube channels. The links are available down below in the descriptions if you want to support Philly Foothills from the Nest Out West, and also if you want to support me, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports Philly, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. You guys, this is a must-win engagement. We're going to be in Las Vegas at that beautiful, beautiful stadium that costs an arm and a leg and a lung just to get into. That the Las Vegas Raiders, man, they broke the bank on that stadium, man.
I like that arm, a leg, and a lung. Yeah. Yeah, that's adding one on top. I like that. Yeah, you're right.
Seriously,
It's expensive.
for
That's the
sure.
only reason I'm not in Vegas right now because I can't. That's just out of my price range.
Bro, that's out of my league entirely right now. I still got bills to pay.
Yeah.
So it's no way you'll see me at a Raiders game anytime soon. But hey, listen, more power to the people that are able to go to those games. I know that stadium is going to be rocking. But we talked about it a little bit. Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts versus Derek Carr. This is going to be a very interesting matchup for the simple fact that Derek Carr is actually having a pretty fair season. He has a 64% completion percentage, a little over 1,900 yards passing. He's averaging about 329 yards per game. Longest pass of the season was 61 yards to Henry Ruggs, and he has 10 touchdowns and 4 interceptions on the season. And he's only been sacked 17 times. So when you do the math on that, 17 divided by what, 6 weeks? He's
Yes,
only
sir.
he's only getting touched on maybe 2 times a game, almost 3 times a game. This D line has to make it a point to make him uncomfortable, and Jalen Hurts has to find a way to get comfortable in the pocket. He has to trust that offensive line, has to sit back in the pocket, and he has to make his reads and also just make the throws that when they're there. You look at that all 22 against Tampa Bay, he left so much food on the table once again. And I think that just comes with confidence, being able to read the defense and trusting your eyes.
Yeah, it does. And having the confidence in your offensive line to not, if you feel that the pressure come a little bit, you don't necessarily have to break out. You can maybe you got to be able to hang in there sometimes. Maybe just step up in the pocket and keep your eyes down the field. Let the routes, kind of develop and let guys get that separation downfield. So, and even when even when he does break the pocket and he's looking down the field, he's got to keep his eyes, looking at multiple targets. He can't stare down receivers, and he can't just really limit himself and just hone in on one side of the field. He's got to be able to see the field and to really let guys on broken plays like that when he's outside of the pocket on broken scramble plays. He's got to be able to let guys work their way back to him and get open that way too.
Yeah, most definitely. There was a play, and on top of that, you said he has to do a job. He has to throw with anticipation. Too often he's waiting for the guy to get open instead of throwing the guy open, or knowing or trusting that the guy will get open. And that's why, and I feel like that's why a lot of his deep balls have been inaccurate. That's why a lot of them haven't really been as crisp or spot on as they could be. We saw that 120-yard pass or 30-yard pass he threw to. I can't remember how far it was. Remember in week 1 he threw that nice, beautiful lob pass to Devontae Smith in the end zone. He needs to throw with anticipation like that. That's the anticipation he needs to throw with. Now, look, I feel like Jalen Reagor has been having an up and down season, but in that Tampa Bay game, on both of his deep balls, he had his matchup dead to rights. The ball was just thrown. The ball was not thrown with enough anticipation. But luckily he was able to draw 2 PIs. But still, he has to trust that his wide receivers are going to get open. He has to throw with instinct, anticipation. He has to throw with a certain zeal. You know what I mean? He can't be passive in the passing game. I understand it's the passing game, but you can't be passive. You have to be aggressive. You see it, you take it. Boom, boom. React, read and react. Straight like that. What do you think?
And we all know, Jalen, that you have that good bullet. You have that nice zip on the ball when you need it. But we got to be able to see you drop the ball in over the top. Have that good over the top touch. And he's lacking that at times too. He had one a couple weeks ago where he could have hit Hurts. He had him. He had him wide open.
Right in the seam. Missed him. Yep.
And just overthrew him. And just timing plays like that, just the touch passes. He's got to get better on that. And if he does, that's gonna help guys like Dallas Goedert. It's gonna help guys like Miles Sanders in the passing game as well. So, I mean, there's definitely things that he can work on. And I think with the competitive drive that he has, with as smart as he is, that he's gonna continue to get better.
Yeah, and you said something very interesting. You said he knows how to throw that ball with that zip when he needs to. Some of his best throws of the season are when he's just reading, reacting, and just being anticipatory, just taking the initiative, right? Just how can I put it? He's
letting it loose.
He's letting it loose. Yeah, perfect example. Think about that 2-point conversion that he threw to Devontae Smith on the run when the offensive line basically collapsed immediately.
Yeah.
He threw that ball off schedule, and he was on the run. He was forced to make a play, but he threw that ball with so much zip in traffic. That wasn't an easy ball to catch, easy ball to throw. So he knows how to be accurate. That's the annoying part. He's not consistently accurate. He knows how to get that ball there with anticipation. It's just that he needs to trust his arm. He needs to trust the work he's put in the offseason. He needs to trust his skill position guys, and he needs to trust the play calling. But it's kind of hard to trust the play calling when you're forced to be everything the offense produces.
Yeah, it really is. And it's, it's just is not in the the unbalanced play calling is leading him to not only have the offense just run through him so much, but it's putting on that extra pressure on him, and it's forcing him to press out there on the field, and that's causing mental errors. That's causing mechanical breakdowns with his fundamentals and in the little nuances that it takes to be a great consistent quarterback at the NFL level. So
you know what it's doing? It's creating bad habits.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing with Jalen Hurts right now. I'm gonna be honest. They're slowly but surely creating bad habits with Jalen Hurts, and he's
the interception that he threw in this last game down the sideline when he overthrew Watkins. Right?
That was terrible.
He do? He threw it off his back foot. You can't do that. You got to be stepping into throws down the field. You can't. And he overthrew. He threw it off his back foot, yet he overthrew him. That just shows you not only was he throwing off the wrong foot, right? But he's also he also put way too much arm on it, and he's not knowing he's kind of stronger. Maybe his arms maybe a little stronger than he thinks it is down the field. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He's not completely comfortable with everything right now.
Right. You know what's happening? We're creating another Carson Wentz situation. And this is what I mean by this when I say this. We're forcing our quarterback to play too much hero ball.
Uh-huh.
I think he's accounted for more offense than Carson Wentz has ever had, too.
Even more so than last year, because we were complaining about Doug Pearson not running the ball enough last year. And we're running the ball even less than we ran it last year. It's like going backwards.
I didn't think it can get this bad, though. That's the crazy part. I didn't think it can actually get this bad.
Yeah, and I hate to say this, but it's almost like it's Howie Roseman or whoever is saying we're going to pass the ball. We're not a running team. We're a passing team, and you make sure it's that way every single game. And I hate to say that, but it's almost kind of becoming very kind of concerningly obvious that either, like I said, either that or they're just really bad at coaching, because you can't tell me that you can't at least attempt to change some things up and to really commit more to the run game. It's been 6 weeks already.
Yeah. When was the last time we started a game running the ball on the first play? I can't remember. There's so many opening drives. There's so many opening drives where we've literally thrown the ball 3 times in a row.
Right. Or that, or they're running I think the first play, if I'm not mistaken, against the Bucks was an RPO, and Jalen decided to pull it out of Sanders' gut when he looked like he had a running lane. To me, it looked like he could at least got probably 4 or 5 yards, if not more. Instead, Jalen pulls it out of his gut, tries to run it to the outside, but gets tackled for a loss. It gets tackled for, I think, a 1-yard loss. And that's basically how the RPOs, that play right there kind of sums up what the RPOs has really done for us this year. And that's damn near nothing. If not, you're going backwards basically.
Yeah. The RPO thing is kind of,
it worked for us back in the day because we had running game. We had Blunt. We had Jay Ajayi. We had Corey Clement. We had a good solid running game behind it. Nobody was worried about Nick Foles running the ball at RPOs. No, it was either we were running it or he was going to hit probably a quick slant or something like that, or a tight end out of the backfield. It doesn't work when you don't have a running game to begin with. RPOs do not work at all.
At all. And you got a guy like Miles Sanders back there. Why not help him help you? You know what I mean? Like, I understand Jalen Hurts is trying to be a professional, but I know he sees what's going on. I know there are times where he's like, yo, help me, help us. Like, come on. Like, I don't.
Miles Sanders has got to be. I mean, yeah, he's not extremely. He's not been in the league a long time, but on the offensive side of the ball, he's on the like as far as weapons go, he's our veteran. We got to rely on our veteran leadership. He's got to be able to give him the ball. Keep the ball in it. Just give it to him. Give him the damn ball. Like my sign says in the background, run the goddamn ball, Nick.
Seriously, you're right. And I think you're actually right. When it comes to the guys that actually get snaps, Dallas Goedert and Miles Sanders are our veterans when it comes to the skill position guys, because they got drafted. They got drafted in the same draft, I believe. And
the year of the Super Bowl, in 2018,
yeah. We got the Super. Yeah, they got drafted a few weeks after the Super Bowl,
right?
Or maybe a month or so, maybe a month or two or so after. But nonetheless, those guys, like I feel like the play calling, now don't get me wrong. Watching the all 22, it does create open guys. It does. I've seen it. I've seen Jalen Hurts not make the pass. I've seen Jalen Hurts, either not make the throw or miss it, or just take off and run because he didn't trust the offensive line. I've seen all those things. So it's not just one problem, right? It's a combination of poor play calling and lack of trust from the quarterback position. Jalen Hurts is never going to say that. Jalen Hurts is always going to be professional, but I feel like he has a hard time trusting this play calling. I feel like the whole team does. There's no way you're in that locker room and y'all looking like, yo, how are we running the ball? Like, if we're saying it, somebody in that locker room has to be saying it.
Right, because when you and every lineman that I've met in my lifetime, every offensive lineman I've met, more than 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, they're gonna if you ask them what do you prefer doing, run blocking or pass blocking, they're gonna say run blocking. They'd rather be firing off the ball, attacking people, being the attacker as opposed to being attacked. When you're in pass block mode, you're the only thing standing between that defender and the quarterback. So you got to be in defense mode. When you're able to pin your ears back as an offensive lineman and really attack and run block, they love that. They prefer it, and they hate constantly being in that defensive pass block mode. It tires them out way more, and it's way more that it's been shown too that when you're unbalanced like that on offense, you're more than likely you're more prone to your offensive lineman getting hurt. You really are. You just because they're not being the aggressor, they're the one that's having to be the defender. Like I said, they're the only thing standing between that defender killing their quarterback and basically their season could be altered in a huge way, and why do we consider this a must win, Mike Smith? Because if we go to 2-5, there's going to be this team's probably going to get the fuse is going to get lit, and you're going to see a lot of big names start to roll off of this contract. Because I want to talk about that a little bit too. Is in Fletcher Cox, he's just, to me, he's really underperforming, and I know a lot of people say he's getting double teamed, but for the money that he's making, and when you say he's getting double teamed all the time, that's true. Yeah, maybe some of the time, but I've watched a lot of the film this year, and there has been a lot of times where Fletcher is getting one-on-one matchups and he's just not winning. And for the amount of money that he's making against the salary cap and things like that, he's just, in my eyes, he's really underperforming.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Especially in terms of the must win. Like, this is a must win, not just for them, but this is a must win for the city. This is a must win for everybody involved. Everybody that has some sort of stake in his team. This is a must win because, like Foothill said, we can't afford to go 2-5. I understand this team is nowhere near a Super Bowl contender, nowhere near a team that's going to make noise in the playoffs. I understand that, but it's important for us to show progress on a weekly basis. It's important for us to win. Let's be totally honest. This team could easily be 4-2 if the play calling was different. If the situational play calling was different, if we took advantage of our skill sets, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If we were more, if we simplified the game, and what I mean by that is if we just put ourselves mentally in positions to play complementary football, we would not be saying what we're saying about this week. But beside it being just a must win, we need to see consistency from the coaching staff, which will then translate to consistency on the field with the players. Let's be honest. This team has not been consistent at all. This team hasn't even built an identity. But besides it being a must win, this is a defining game. This is a defining game. We have to define who we're going to be. We're 6-7 weeks deep into the season, and we have no idea who we are as a team. We haven't even established an identity. We have nothing that we have nothing that our opponents can say. Oh, we gotta make sure we worry about this. You think about the Titans. Their identity is run and gun, run the ball down your throat, and then you got to stop me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You think about the Kansas City Chiefs
and let Tannehill and the passing attack feed off of what that running game opens up for you. Because when you have a dominant rusher like a Derrick Henry, when he's going, well, that passing game is wide open. I mean, it's like a bowling lane. You're picking your angles basically at that point. It's like you want to run this way, you want to run that way, you want to run straight down the field. You go ahead and do whatever you want at that point because it's all open.
Yeah, like it's common sense. I can call better games than Madden. Let's be totally honest, Foothills. We can call better games than Madden than Nick Sirianni has been doing.
Yeah.
Like it's
Waller's out. Waller's out.
Disrespectful. Like for real? Wait, hold on, wait, y'all. Breaking news: is Darren Waller out for real?
What Backyard Birds podcast? He said, "Hey guys, Waller is out." Let me double check that as well.
Let me double check that.
That could be big.
Oh man, if he's out, I haven't seen anything pop up yet. But if he's out, this is crazy.
Last
shout out to my family, G4 Reds. That's my family right there. That's my cousin. Shout out to my family, man. Shout out to cuz I appreciate you for locking in, my guy. You already know how we get down, bro. I appreciate you. I love you, bro. But yeah, you right. Like, I know you've been saying that, bro. You so right. The team, we ain't been running the ball enough. We ain't giving the ball to Miles Sanders. We not helping Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is too much of the offense. It seemed like the ball's in his hands way too much. And of course he's the quarterback, but we're not handing that ball to the running backs. We're making him work entirely too hard, and at some point he's going to hurt himself if he keep having to run like this. You know what I'm saying? I understand he's tough. He hasn't shown us any signs of falling off, but
why isn't he? Why is he literally next to never under center? I see them practicing in pregame and warmups.
Right, I've seen him practice in the offseason. I've seen Jalen Hurts taking more snaps and taking more snaps under center throughout his preparation for this coming season than I've seen him do in an actual game. The only time he's under center is when we're doing a quarterback sneak, and it's obvious at that point.
Is he really that bad? Right? Is he really that bad when he's in a 3 or 5 step drop? I mean, or is it really that big of a difference if the offensive line's a little leaky, if he's dropping back 3 or 5 steps, or if he's in the shotgun? I mean, I don't see the, especially with as mobile as he is, I don't see the difference. Because if he needs to get out of there, if he's got a lane to get out of there, if he's got a spot to go, he's gonna find it. Because Jalen, he gets sacked, but he's probably not. He's kind of like a Russell Wilson type in that fact where when he sees that play break down, he's gonna get out of the pocket and he's gonna at least get moving a little bit. But it's just the fact that, Jalen's got to be more confident in everybody around him. Not only his running back, but the offensive line, everything like that. There's times where he's got to be able to hang in that pocket a little bit more, maybe slide up in the pocket if he needs to, keep his eyes down the field. And Go through a second or maybe even try to get to a third read if he needs to. Go through your progressions. Let the play come to you and see the field. Find the open receiver. Find the guy that's got the mismatch, and he's got a step or two on his guy. Find that guy and get the ball to him.
Man, Mike Smith, I don't know, man. That's a good point. Will there be any players from the 2017 season on the roster in 3 years? I doubt it. I doubt it, man. In 3 years' time, I doubt it. It's gonna be tough. The
Yeah.
only guy you may see here in the next 3 years, maybe, if ever so maybe, is I don't
Lane
even know.
Johnson, maybe.
Maybe Lane Johnson. I don't know. That's a tough ask. Was
Yeah.
Josh Sweat there during the Super Bowl year?
No,
He
I
got
don't think
drafted a year
so.
later, right?
Maybe he was on the practice squad, possibly, but I know he wasn't on the. He might have
Um,
been on the practice squad in 2017. I don't remember exactly when Josh Sweat was
oh no,
drafted.
he got drafted in 2018 in the 4th round. He got drafted with
Okay,
Miles Sanders and those guys.
gotcha. So it
When you
was
think
right
about
after.
it, that's actually a pretty good draft. When you think about Miles Sanders, Josh Sweat, Dallas Goedert, that's actually not bad. You hit on 3 of those
Yeah,
guys.
right.
But the
Yeah, I
only way
mean,
we're going to really know if we give damn Miles Sanders a damn ball. Like
Josh Sweat's got to
it's
he's got to be a little more consistent, getting some pressure on the from the defensive end spot. I haven't seen enough consistent, at least even pressures out of him, let alone sacks this year so far. So I want to see more productivity out of him. Definitely he's got to try to get into the backfield a little more consistently. But yeah, I mean, I like definitely the upside that those guys bring. It's definitely got a very good chance to they all have a good chance to have longevity with this team.
for sure, man, for sure.
But
So
we got to get Miles the ball, like you said.
exactly, and that just brings me to the keys to victory, man. What do you think are the keys to victory going into this game?
Um, my three would be run the ball, and run the damn ball. Oh.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong at all, dog. Like it's actually pretty sickening the fact that we haven't ran the ball as much as we really should have, man.
You can't tell me
It's
that I understand we've had injuries on the offensive line, but these all guys are all supposed to be professionals, right? You can't tell me that they're that bad at run blocking, that you don't have any, you really don't have any faith in them. And if that's the case, what message are you really sending to this team? And maybe maybe that ex what was he, an ex fullback or ex linebacker? I forget what, for the Seahawks, that came out with that report in the offseason saying that that there were some doubters on this football team in regards to Nick Sirianni and this coaching staff going forward. Maybe that had a lot more truth to it than we thought.
wow.
Maybe this locker room is a little more split than we really know.
I wouldn't be. I really wouldn't be surprised when you think about how the coaching has been this past several weeks. How can you trust them
Right.
right now? Nick Sirianni just looks like an emotional head case to me.
Yeah.
He just looks like an emotion. It's nothing wrong with being emotional, right? But when your team's not winning, you just look like you're not. You just look unhinged, in my
And
humble opinion.
he's a every time they show Nick Sirianni's definitely a nervous spitter. Every time they show him on the sideline, he's spitting. That's definitely showing he's not comfortable. He's nervous. He's not settling into the games. He's and what if the defense is, for the most part, I think the defense has been playing pretty good. Above average for the most part. We've stayed in games because of the defense, but how frustrating is that going to be for them? Game in and game out, for them to be on the defensive side of the ball, busting their ass, trying to get defensive stops. And against this this past game against Tampa Bay, they did get stops throughout that game. The offense just did not produce, and that's just going to start to mentally break the defense down. There's only so much they could take, and once they get to that point, it's if the offense is not showing signs of life, showing signs of progression, then it's only going to get worse.
Right. Right. For me, keys of the game are, like you said, run the ball. We have to make Derek Carr extremely, extremely uncomfortable. And we have to
Yes.
find a way to get Jalen Hurts in the rhythm early. That's my thing. Obviously, there's more that needs to happen. We need to find a way to get these linebackers. Like, I don't know how much you can really ask out of these linebackers because of where their talent stands right now. I don't know what you can really ask out of them except for just do your damn job and run downhill.
Yeah.
Like I'm expecting, like maybe my expectations too high, man. Maybe, but it just seemed like this team they're so up and down on a weekly basis, and they're so erratic. I'll say it again, and I'm going to always keep saying it until they prove otherwise. This team is the epitome of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You don't know what you're going to get. You don't know. They are playing a Bruce Banner type of offense. One day you're nerdy Bruce. The next day you're Incredible Hulk putting up these in crazy numbers. There's no continuity on the offense. There's no continuity on the defense either. And it always comes back to the coaching staff because this defense has shown that they're talented enough to get stops on talented teams.
Right.
The defense has actually given this offense a lot of opportunities to come back into games, to be in games. But the offense has too many consecutive drives of going 3 and out. I believe in that Tampa Bay game, the defense was able to stop the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on about maybe 2 or 3 straight drives. And we did absolutely nothing with it. Nothing with it.
Right. And that's why I don't understand why we're not bringing more blitzes with the linebackers, because the linebackers they're really not doing anything that the safeties can't do, basically, when it comes to both the pass game and against the run, because the linebackers are giving up, 7-8 yards a run. I think the safeties can really compete with that if they needed to. And against the pass, they're not doing anything really in coverage either. I mean, yeah, they've done a little bit against some of the tight ends in the league. They limited, you know, George Kittle and players like some of the upper echelon tight ends haven't had huge games against us, but I think that's more of the safeties than the linebackers. But we need to start bringing more blitzes. I feel, get these quarterbacks uncomfortable and just making them, making them get off their spot and get out and not being able to just sit back there and pick apart our secondary, because they can only hold up so long in the back end. So my first key to victory is definitely for us to establish the run game early. We gotta get the run game going early. We gotta establish the line of scrimmage on the offensive line, and really let these guys fire off the ball and run block. Whether it's
Right.
only getting 2 or 3 yards in a cloud of dust, I don't really care. We need to at least make an attempt to get a running game going early.
Agreed. Agreed. And you know, G4 Rez brought up a good point. He said we gotta get Smith more route looks. We do gotta get Smith more looks. He is our most talented wide receiver. He's shown that he can shake and bake the best of them. He's shown that he can get open easily. So I think it's important to get DeVonta Smith something going in the intermediate across the field. You know what I mean? I was watching DeVonta Smith highlights, and he had a lot of opportunities going across midfield. He had a lot of opportunities. In between the numbers, and we need to give DeVonta Smith some more interesting opportunities on the offense. Like, and I'll be honest, I feel like we don't give him enough deep. I feel like we don't give him enough deep ball opportunities either. I feel like we're giving all the deep ball opportunities to Jalen Reagor, and if not Jalen Reagor, Quez Watkins. And speaking of Quez Watkins needs to be getting more reps than Jalen Reagor. It's no question about it. He needs to be the wide receiver too. He has shown on a weekly basis that he you know how many situations he's gotten us out of?
Right?
Like
Right now,
like
yeah,
Quez Watkins is like the proverbial fire alarm. He's like the emergency brake. He gets us out of Dodge all the time. He had
I
that big
agree.
catch against the Carolina Panthers that got us going. He
And right
he
now,
also had
he's
a big catch in the Tampa Bay game as well.
Yeah, he's definitely Quez is definitely our most confident wide receiver right now. And
Definitely.
with his skill set, with his confidence level right now, you definitely he has to be the wide receiver too. We got to get him some more looks, and that can't be just deep balls down the field. We got to try to get the ball to him on intermediate routes, maybe on a crossing route, something like that, something where he can get into some space and get those, get those get the top gears going. Because when he does, when he gets moving, we've seen Quez can fly. So we definitely got to let him get some yak yards. Get him in open space.
Right. Like, I think Quez right now, for the season, Quez Watkins has on 16 receptions, he has 311 yards, averaging 19 yards a catch. His longest catch of the season was his longest catch of the season was 91 yards. And he has six. He has the most big plays on the team, and big plays are defined as plays that are 20 yards or more. He
Right.
has 6 on the team, and then next is Devonta Smith with 4, and Dallas Goedert has 4. Everyone else has 2 or less. Jalen Reagor only has 2, but the Quez Watkins has 6 big plays on his team. 6. So pretty much right now he's averaging a big play every game. You got to get him involved, and he has the most outside of Miles Sanders. He has the most yards after the catch. We have to. I don't understand it, man. And here's another thing that we don't talk about as well. Quez Watkins is 16 for 22 on his receptions versus targets. He's taking advantage of his opportunities. He's taking advantage when he gets that when that ball comes his way. For the most part, he's doing something with it.
Yeah, when he's not being overthrown down the sideline. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
When
Exactly.
when it's catchable, he's usually catching it because he's shown again. I think like you said, he had that nice catch against Tampa Bay where he kind of had to snag it awkwardly going to the ground, and that really got us going.
Yeah, it got tipped. I think the ball got tipped, and he found a way to contour his body to catch that rock.
Corral it, yes, sir. Yeah, and and speaking of passing attacks, my second key to victory is going to be, especially with Anthony Harris being out with the groin and hand injuries he's dealing with. It's my second key to victory is going to be, making sure that Henry Ruggs does not beat us over the top. We gotta not let him run wild and kill us with that deep ball. And that also includes being disciplined, like I said earlier, and not giving up any cheap holding calls, defensive holding, pass interference. We can't let them flip the field on us and get an easy 3 or 7 points on basically a huge penalty. When you give up huge penalty yardage like that, a lot more times than not, it's hard to win, especially when you got a struggling team like ours.
Right. And this team on multiple levels. And look, I did say the penalties are trending down, but the way this team is playing right now, who's to say we won't go right back to our old habits and start committing all these boneheaded penalties? Like, I will not get Jannard Avery's penalty out of my mind that set the tone for that game winning drive. Well, not game winning, but for that closeout drive for Tampa Bay. That was a defining moment because that gave them 15 yards just for the love, and they did not have to work to dominate that final possession. I strongly believe because look, on the first down, we limited them to like maybe a 1 yard gain, I believe. So at that point, the defense was on schedule. Then out of nowhere, that penalty comes, and it gave them just 15 yards. So you gave them 15 yards, and you gave them another first down opportunity. You sucked the life out of whatever we had going. You know what I mean? It's like I believe the defense felt confident enough that we can get a stop. I firmly believe that the defense would have got a stop, and it would have positioned the offense to go down the field and do whatever they could because we lost that game. What was the score of that game? We lost, what, 28-22?
22? Yeah, lost by 6 points.
Right.
That was with Tampa Bay kneeling it in the red zone at the
right.
end of the
game. They could have been disrespectful and made that game 35-22.
Oh yeah.
They could have been disrespectful, but that spoke to their class. That spoke to the way that team is coached.
Right.
They're disciplined and they respect their opponent.
Mm-hmm.
And And there's no such thing as moral victories to me. You know, we gotta. I don't care if we got things going. We gotta win the game. You know what I'm saying? We had an opportunity to beat Kansas City. Defense couldn't get stops. We had an opportunity to beat Tampa Bay. Offense couldn't get their head out of their ass.
Right.
It's just we had a chance to beat San Fran. Offense couldn't get anything going. Defense was
Yeah.
giving up.
I mean,
Defense was giving up too many long drives.
the penalties / refs killed us in that Kansas City game that I was lucky enough to be at the link for. I mean,
Right.
not lucky that we lost, but just lucky to be there in person and be able to experience that for the first time. But I mean, there's been numerous touchdowns taken off the board because of penalties, and some of them very questionable calls. Because there was one, I think it was against Kansas City, where they knocked Devontae Smith out of bounds. He ends up catching the ball in the back of the end zone, and I think he clearly reestablished himself back in bounds, but yet they called him an ineligible receiver because he was knocked out of bounds. But, it's just there's been a lot of points taken off the board because of penalties, and we definitely got to get that cleaned up, and that all goes down. That all stems back to the coaching. You got to have the guys stay disciplined and to play smart.
Right. Yeah. Backyard Birds podcast. Shout out to them. Brought up a very good point. He says, I hear all this, but he had Hurts and Goddard going across the middle field, but missed throws. You're right. I'm not going to act like Jalen Hurts has not missed throws. Jalen Hurts has left a lot of food on the table, and that's something he has to clean up. I don't say any of those things to say that he's absolved of any level of accountability for the way this team has been playing. He's had games where he just missed easy throws, missed opportunities, overthought things, didn't trust the offensive line enough. But I think if we get the running game involved, that gets the offense in the rhythm, gets him comfortable, sets up certain things so he can trust what he's seeing. But overall, he has to be able to see the field, like you said, Backyard Birds. He has to make the easy throws. He has to hit the throws that the defense is easily giving him. I've seen Devontae Smith open on so many occasions. I've seen Dallas Goedert open on so many occasions, and the ball was either thrown late or it wasn't thrown at all.
Right. Or was thrown to somebody else. I mean,
or was thrown to somebody else.
Yeah.
Or he ran.
Because there's been times where Jalen tries to hit the little bit of a deeper. He tries to hit maybe Devontae Smith on a little bit of a out route down the sideline or something like that, and he's got a guy like Dallas Goedert who's wide open on a shorter route. Where he could have got the first down, but he tried to make a bigger play down the field. Again, trying to press too much, trying to play maybe a little too much hero ball when just play smart, give what the defense takes you. Give what hit the guy who's more open, who's way more of a higher percentage of a catch. So, and hey, shout out to Patriot 1776 for the $4.99 super chat.
Shout out to Patriot 1776, my guys, showing love 2 weeks in a row. I appreciate you, my man. He says we truly need to use Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell properly. Coach needs to have a balanced attack, please, please, please. Patriot, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Absolutely,
I couldn't. We're begging. We're absolutely begging for some level of continuity of a running game. We're begging. There's no way and look, we had a mini bye. We had a 10-day break from our Thursday night game against Tampa Bay up until now. We had a mini bye. There's no way you sit in that. There's no way you sit in that coach's chair with all your coaches around the war table and y'all watching film. And there's no way you're not saying we need to run the ball more. There's no way you're not saying that. Not
only do we need to run the ball more, but that we are going to run the ball more. We are going to. It's not a matter of need anymore. It's must. It's a must.
It's a must. It's like water. We're thirsty for a running game, bro. We're dehydrated. You know what I'm saying? This passing game has been like salt tablets. Bro, we're being squeezed dry, bro. It's like we're in the Sahara.
Yes.
Bro, we need to find it. We need to find the oasis of a running game.
Yeah,
we need to satiate this team. We need to quench this team's thirst of a running game. We need to,
or else Jalen Hurts and this offense is going to shrivel up and literally die. They're going to die.
They're
They
gonna
really are.
die.
Yeah.
And and the way we're
Slow
playing,
death.
it's almost like you see things sometimes, and it's like, wow, do they want Jalen Hurts to succeed or fail?
Right.
It really begs the question
It does.
because
Good point.
because you have a guy who's young, who's only started, I believe, 11 or 10 total football games in his career. Let me just make sure. Let me just make sure I'm correct
Yeah,
because
6 this year and 4 roughly. I mean, he had half the Packer game, and then he had 3 solid games, and then he had half the Washington game. So, like, about 4 games last year and now 6 this year, so 10,
I,
roughly,
yeah, you're right. He started this. He started 6 this year, and
Yep,
he started 4 last year.
right.
So yeah, he started 10 games. This will be his 11th game. A guy who's only started 10 games in the NFL, you're trying to make him throw the ball 30 to 40 plus times a game when he doesn't need to. And the only reason, and the only games where he doesn't throw the ball that many times is when we're not in control of the ball. We don't have any time of possession. We don't have the opportunities. You know what I'm saying? So don't let the stats fool you. There are games where he's thrown the ball between 20 to 30 times a game, but that's because we haven't had the ball in our hands. That's because we're not dominating time of possession. Jamal Matthews says, I want to see a game where we win time of possession. Every game this year, the other team has had the ball far longer than we have. Buccaneers damn near doubled us as far as time of possession. The
Yes,
Buccaneers had over 80 plays.
yes.
Last time we
Eh,
played. Let me just
you're
double check that, make
absolutely
sure I'm not wrong.
yeah, and you're absolutely correct, Jamal. That's my 3rd key to victory.
Sorry,
Limit
73 plays. Tampa Bay had 73 plays.
yeah,
My bad. But that's
we
still too
gotta
much. 70 plus plays, and we only have 40. We have 47 plays. That's scrimmage. That's a flag football game. Like what are we doing?
I guarantee you, if the Las Vegas Raiders, if they win the time of possession battle, they're going to beat us 9 times out of 10. They're going to beat us because we can't. That's my 3rd key to victory. We cannot let Josh Jacobs and the other running backs control the time of possession for this football game. We have to be able to get stops. We have to be able to limit their run game and to be able to get consistent pressure on Carr and not let him sit back there and pick us apart. We got to win the time of possession battle, or else we're going to have a real tough time of winning this football game in the desert.
Right now. Now look, the Raiders are only averaging a little over 3 yards an attempt, 3.3 yards an attempt to be exact. They're only averaging about 80 yards on the ground this season.
But they got to,
So
after watching that film of Leonard Fournette and company run the ball down our throat on Thursday
mhm.
night, Josh Jacobs and company, they got to be licking their chops
Of
at the
course, of
possibility of tearing us up.
Of course, every team, look, there's 6 weeks of film out there. All these teams are looking at it like, okay, we're going to run the ball and make them stop us. What's going on, Weezy? That's my guy. I know for a fact, they're watching the film on us saying, yo, make them stop us,
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs is talented, and they got King and Drake, talented. I know
They're
they're all
literally gonna
sitting
be
there
running the
like,
ball.
make
They're
them
gonna be
stop
running the
us.
ball at. They're gonna be running the ball directly at Alex Singleton. That's gonna be their target, is to get to that level and to be running him over like other teams have been doing, because it's a recipe to easily beat us. It's not very hard. Not very hard to figure out right now.
For sure. Mike Smith says, who do y'all trust more, Nick or Gannon?
Hmm.
Oh, that is
That's a real tough question right now
that's a
because
tough question.
I feel like
I'll be
I feel like I've been duped by both of them right now, because with Sirianni, his big key was winning at the line of scrimmage, which we're not doing, winning in the trenches, right? Which we're really not doing, because we're getting killed in run defense, and we're losing on the offensive line side of the ball too, because we're in pass block mode way too much. And with
Mhm.
Gannon, he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna show all these different exotic looks. We're gonna be blitzing this and that, but yet we're the one of the defenses that blitzes the least amount in this football in this NFL right now. So yeah, I feel like both of them have pulled the wool over my eyes to some aspect already. So I don't know how much I trust either one of them right now.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, to your point, bro, I don't trust any of them. Shout out to Bird Gang 31 with the 199 super chat. My brother, thank you so much for supporting me, my man. Make sure you guys go lock in and subscribe to Bird Gang 31. That dude is giving you guys some of the hottest Eagles content out right now. That
His
man is
channel's on
relentless.
fire right now too. Congratulations to
That
him.
man's relentless.
He recently got monetized and he recently hit 1,500 subscribers. So
Shout out to the guy.
Congratulations
Shout
to
out
you,
to the
Bird
guy,
Gang.
man. He is giving y'all so much dope content. He is on fire. He is literally on pace. He's on pace to go the distance, my man. Shout out to Bird Gang 31 for the 199 super chat. His channel is electric, man. He gives you guys so many different levels of content. He is uncanny. He is one of one. Shout out to Bird Gang 31, man. He says Booby going to spin and we going to win. Love you, bro. Man, Booby about to go off. You right, man. You're so right, my man. You're so right. And Backyard Bird says the Raiders O-line is suspect. Hey, that's something to think about. You know, I'm expecting Javon Hargrave to have maybe 2 sacks a day. And
I think they're like 20. I think they're like, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're like 22nd or 20. They're in the 20s in regards to the low to mid 20s in regards to their defensive rank against the run. So we should be, if this is a game where we should commit to running the ball, this is it. This is our opportunity right now. It's smack right in front of us. Whoever's out there on the offensive line, it doesn't really matter at this point. Let them work. Let them do their thing. These guys are supposed to be professionals. They're getting paid pretty good money for this damn thing, and let them go do their thing. Let them do it.
Yep, you're so right, my man.
Beasts.
You're so right. And I think they're averaging, when it comes to the rushing game, the Raiders are allowing teams, I think, about over 4 yards an attempt and 130 yards rushing. So they don't have the best rushing defense either. This is what I'm saying. We have to take advantage of their weaknesses as well. It's not that complicated. It's really not complicated at all, man. It's not. We have to take advantage of the team's weaknesses and not overthink things. Run the ball out of I formation sometimes. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt you. Like, I don't understand why they're so resistant to just playing winning football or playing physical football. Like, it's fucking mind-boggling to me. Like, I truly don't understand.
Right, and it's so mind-boggling. My mind starts spinning off into, I start trying to rationalize it in weird ways. Like, maybe Jeffrey Lurie is at his wit. Maybe he's done with Howie Roseman at this point, but wants a scapegoat in a good reason to fire him. And maybe he, I know this is a conspiracy theory type of thing, but maybe he has pulled Nick Sirianni aside and said, you know what? I don't want Jalen Hurts to succeed this year. So I want you to pass the ball like 80 to 90% of the time. That way I have a good excuse to fire Howie, because Howie was the one that drafted Jalen. That was a Howie pick. So maybe Lurie's just looking for a really, really good excuse. It's not like he hasn't had one already, but maybe he's looking for a real solid excuse to finally drop that axe on Howie.
Man, I'm nervous about that, man. I definitely want to jump right back to that point you brought up. But Jamal Matthews asked, "Who's our best linebacker right now?" For me, our best linebacker is kind of hard, man. That's another tough question too. Like, that's because it's games where like they all look lost. Now, if you want to go strictly by stats, Alex Singleton, because he has the tackles, right? But if we want to go by impact plays, maybe TJ Edwards or Jannard Avery. If you take away that penalty from Jannard Avery, he's, then maybe Jannard Avery, TJ Edwards. I think TJ Edwards right now, maybe because he's the best run stopper. But we don't have any linebackers who do multiple things well. They're all a bunch of guys that do one thing well, kind of. So it's kind of hard to really say that because there's some games where TJ Edwards is the better one, Alex Singleton is the better linebacker, Jannard Avery is the better linebacker. Eric Wilson has an interception. He's the only linebacker to force a turnover. So, it's kind of hard to really indicate who's our best linebacker, if I'm being honest. They're all subpar, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Yeah, you said it. They kind of specify in one category over the other, and that makes them susceptible on certain plays. Whether they're better in coverage or they're better in run defense, they're definitely going to be exposed on the other end. But you said a name that I was thinking of that came into my head right away, and that's TJ Edwards. I just think he's, as far as the amount of production that we've got from him from the times that he is on the field in our base defense, and then the special teams production that we got out of him. He made that big play against Carolina, so I think TJ Edwards has been our most consistent linebacker for the most part this year, but that's not saying much because that position as a whole for this team has been very, very inconsistent. So yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, you're the best player, but I mean, out of that group, but what is that really saying when the group's not that great?
Right. Yeah. It's like being the smartest. It's like being the smartest man in the room in a room full of dummies. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like
Exactly.
okay, well, C's do get degrees, yes. Like, but what are you really competing against? And Weezy the Dreaded Eagle, my guy, he's been rocking for a long time. He says, does Slay get another interception today, Tone? Very possible. Derek Carr is liable to turn the ball over, especially when you get pressure on him. So it's very possible. But Foothills, you brought up something, the whole conspiracy between Jeffrey Lurie, Howard Roseman, and maybe him getting the axe. Bro, it's so I wanted that man fired 2 years ago, two or 3 years ago. And that Super Bowl was the best, worst thing that happened to this team. It's giving him a longer leash. It's overinflated his ego,
Yeah.
and he thinks every decision he makes is
Golden.
golden, and
Mhm.
it's not. It's not. Howie Roseman is not a football guy. I don't care. I don't care how long I bet any amount of money if Howie Roseman
He's
is
a numbers
fired,
guy. Howie
he's never
Roseman's
the
a
guy.
numbers guy. He should be. Yeah, he's great at the numbers. He's great at moving around contracts and getting us under the salary cap.
You know what Howie Roseman needs to be? He
All
needs to
that's
be
math.
he needs to be the team accountant. That's all he's good
Yes.
for is accounting
Yes.
for numbers. And I bet
Yes.
any amount of money if he ever got fired from his team, he'll never be hired anywhere else in the NFL. I firmly believe that.
Yeah, I mean, he would definitely wouldn't be in charge of any kind of player evaluation, any kind of scouting, any kind of drafting because he sucks. He absolutely has shown that he cannot. He just cannot draft on a consistent basis, especially in areas where it's glaring that the team needs help,
Yeah.
i.e.,
Yeah.
the linebacker position, i.e., cornerback. I mean, we got lucky. We just got a young prospect at corner in the trade. I thought that was a
Yeah.
pretty good move because not only did we
Yeah.
get a
Take
first round,
Godwin. I
he's
actually wanted
great.
him in the draft too. It was multiple times
Absolutely.
where we were in position to draft and in the later rounds, and I saw Take Godwin on the board. I said, get him, get him, get him.
Yeah,
And we didn't.
need a whiff.
I'm still pissed off that we didn't get assigned to Sammy Jr. I think he has like 3 or 4 interceptions on the season so far. He is
Yeah,
balling for the Chargers.
yeah,
Balling.
yeah. He's doing a lot better than. I mean, not that they play on the same side of the ball or anything like that, but he's being way more productive than Landon Dickerson to this point. That's for sure.
Right, right. And speaking of Landon Dickerson, somebody brought up something very interesting in the chat. They said Landon Dickerson is a monster. He's a very physical guy. Why do we got him doing all this finesse stuff? Why do we keep him on his back foot instead of forcing him to punch guys in the mouth and go forward in the running game?
That's a great question. That's one that the reporters need to be asking the coaching staff. And if I'm Stoutland, if I'm Jeff Stoutland, I am. If they're really trying to win football games, I'm constantly preaching we need to run the ball. Run the ball. Let this offensive
But
line work. Let them attack. Let them fire off the ball. Let them go attack the defensive line. Let them get to the second level and open up some run lanes for these running backs, because we're putting way too much pressure on this quarterback, and it's a recipe for disaster.
yeah, yeah. And honestly, if I was Jeff Stoutland, like you said, I wouldn't just be saying it. I would be annoying with it. Like
Yes.
every time I'm asked the question, my my response will begin and end with "We need to run the ball."
Yeah.
Like it would begin and end with that.
Mhm.
and you would and
I would
you
literally be
hit me.
I would be blowing up the head coach's phone with text messages. Run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. I mean, he would be I would be forcing his hand just for me to stop with my pursuit because I would be that adamant about it because
Bro.
you're not gonna get anywhere. It's I've been saying, it's like that old adage. It's the tire spinning in the mud. You know, you could use all the acceleration you want until you get something to grip onto, until you get something to go forward with. You're not going anywhere. You're just going to keep spinning.
Right. And Philly Eagles fan brings up a good point. He says, let's be real. What player on this team is feared by opposing teams? And you're right. It's kind of hard to fear someone when
That's a
they're not
great
getting
question.
when they're not getting the opportunities for you to fear them. I
The
feel like
one
Miles
person you
Sanders.
could say right now, and that's on the defensive side of the ball, is Javon Hargrave.
Right,
That's the
right. That's
one
the only
guy right
person.
now.
Right,
Right.
right. And maybe Darius Slay and Steven Nelson because they've accounted for 3 interceptions in the past
Maybe, yeah.
2 or 3 weeks or whatever. But
And
but
Hargrave right now, the teams are sliding the double team to him now. They're like, okay, Fletcher Cox, you
beat
you
me now. Beat
you
me.
beat us now. And
Right, and Josh Sweat needs to pick up that slack too. My
oh
thing
yeah,
is, if someone's getting double teamed, it's important. Like somebody got to get home. Somebody got
right.
to get home. But on the offensive side of the ball, guys aren't getting the touches enough to really be feared. I feel like Devontae Smith, from a route runner perspective, he's respected, and it's times where teams are keying in on him. But I feel like Miles Sanders should be feared way more, but he doesn't get the opportunity to be feared. Miles Sanders is a big play waiting to happen. We've seen when he get the opportunity, he's beginning to run violently. When he gets to that second level, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Miles Sanders is such a talented player. Like if we don't resign him, which I think we're not going to end up resigning him, whoever gets him, they're going to be in love with this kid. They're going to be in love with him.
Oh yeah. Because once he's utilized to his strengths, it's gonna be he's gonna almost look like a whole different player because he's gonna get that confidence again going behind him. And I think with Miles, confidence is not only helps him mentally, but it gives him a boost physically too. He just plays at that much higher of a level.
Mm-hmm. You know what's so funny? Like we said, he's not getting the touches, right?
Right.
Repetition breeds comfort. Comfort breeds confidence. Confidence breeds success. And he's not getting that.
Right.
He's not getting any of that on any level.
Right. And it's definitely starting to wear on him mentally because you see him, he's made some mental the errors this season against Carolina. We almost blew it at the end because he ran out of bounds a couple of times on that last drive and gave them and stopped the clock a couple extra times for them when they already had 3 timeouts going into that possession. So you can't being a more of a veteran player on this football team, you can't make mistakes like that. And he normally doesn't. And I was really surprised to see him not only do that once, but
But
then he did it.
twice.
Then he did it twice, and they pulled him out. And the running back coach Jamal Singleton, I think is his name. He was giving him the business. He was definitely letting him know that you can't do that. You got to stay in bounds, even if there's nothing there. You got to just go down in bounds and let that clock run because we're trying to run this clock out and finish this game off. You can't give them extra stoppages of the clock like that. You just can't. And we're lucky that Carolina just wasn't that good that day. Or we would have easily lost that game.
Yeah, for sure. Backyard Birds podcast, he brings up something interesting to discuss. He says a lot of people bash Howie, but if you take a step back and take a wider lens, look around the NFL, there are not many GMs doing better than him. Interesting point, especially when you consider the fact that he fleeced the Miami Dolphins for that first round pick. I do give him credit. His personality translates in his trading habits, and what I mean by that is he's a weasel to me. So when it comes to his trading habits, he knows how to weasel his way in to finesse a team and trades when it comes to the picks. I'm not going to lie. From a draft capital perspective, he has positioned us in a very, very, very lucrative position. He has. But when it comes to spotting talent, when it comes to team building, I have a hard time trusting him, especially someone who's refused to invest in the linebacker position when that position has been one of your main weaknesses for the past several seasons. Your your DB room is starting to actually trend up now, but the linebackers are so perpetually bad. It can't be overlooked. But Backyard Birds, I do want to give credence to what you said. Howie Roseman, when you think about it from in the macro, from a large landscape perspective,
Right.
sure, like there may not be too many GMs doing better than him, but just looking at how he affects us, he has hurt us from a team building perspective for the past several years. This is the first year in a long time where we've actually had a pretty decent draft. The 2018 draft was okay because we got Miles Sanders out of it, Dallas Goedert, Jordan Mailata, Josh Sweat. You found some gems, but he overall has not been a good evaluator of talent, and he has put this team in compromising positions. We haven't developed anybody. You know what I mean? Like for the past handful of, and that maybe that goes back to the coaching staff. But
But who hires the coaching?
who hires the coaching staff?
Right.
Granted, our last coach got a Super Bowl, and you can make an argument that Doug Peterson was fired prematurely. You can make a legit argument for that. Um, but regardless, I still feel like the problem is still here. I still feel like Harry Roseman will always hold his team back. I feel like that Super Bowl year, so many things outside of Harry Roseman's decision making, so many other things in the NFL went right. You think about Ezekiel Elliott being suspended for about 60% of that season,
Right.
and that allowed us to beat the Cowboys, in the first matchup. The last time and the second time we played them that season, it was a garbage game. We didn't really need to win that game. We already had the first seed locked up in the NFC. Um, and then you think about you think about Aaron Rodgers being out for the season with a messed up shoulder. So many things went right that season for us to win. You think about the division matchup against the Atlanta Falcons where Nick Foles threw a terrible ball and it bounced off of, I believe, Keanu Neal's knee, and Torrey Smith got us in field goal position. So there were so many magical things that happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just feel like Howie Roseman, from a culture perspective, just his mere presence alone, he's a problem for me. He's just a problem for me, man.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like he needs to draft better. He needs to draft better, and he needs to rely on the people around him that actually know football. That's my whole thing.
No, he's got to. Yeah. I mean, if I'm Jeffrey Lurie, I'm saying, hey, you know what? You're going to take
And,
a
and
pay cut. If I'm and
yeah,
I'm
and,
talking
real- and,
about
real, and, real, and real quick to
yeah.
this. Sorry, Foothills.
You're good.
He
You're
says,
good.
"How is the reason we're not well? How is he the reason we're not doing well because of the draft?" Well, this is a buildup for me. This isn't just this season. This is a buildup. He's ignored the linebacker position. He's ignored it. So
Right.
that's a reason why we're sucking on defense in reality, in my humble opinion. Because the D line has played pretty fair, DBs have played pretty fair, but he has not invested in that linebacker position, and that's a position where we're constantly getting attacked every single season. Now, again, coaching has a lot to do with the decision making and the plays we do, like all that stuff. It's not just one leak in the ship. There's
Right.
multiple leaks in the ship. I'm just talking about Howie Roseman in this moment. He's a catalyst for our demise as well, along with Nick Sirianni, along with Nick Sirianni's poor play calling, along with Jonathan Gannon's poor play calling,
Yeah. Howie's
along with
obviously goes further back than
right.
Sirianni's, and yeah, a lot of it does has to do with the draft. His previous drafts have not gone well, and we don't even know, outside of, I mean, even with Devontae Smith right now, he's shown that he's shown that he can play at this level, but I mean, he hasn't been anything of a breakout star yet or anything like that. So even everything with this past draft, or there's still a lot of question marks. So yeah, this past draft was undoubtedly his best on paper, outside of 2018 with some of the other guys that you were talking about, like Mulata and Sweat, and uh, who else did we get in 2018? Miles Sanders. So yeah, yeah, and you know, if I'm Lurie, I'm telling Howie, if you're gonna stick around here, you're only gonna run the number side. You're gonna take a pay cut, and there's gonna be another individual. I don't care what his title is, if it's drafting consultant or whatever, but there's gonna be another individual who is his seldom job is to scout talent and to draft the guys in the draft, because that would, if I'm the owner, that's no longer gonna be Howie Roseman's job at all. He's not gonna
Yeah, for
have
sure,
any
man.
say in it.
For sure. Shout out to Patriot 1776 again with
Another
another
one.
49 super
Woo!
chat. Shout out to Hey, listen, Patriot been showing me love, man. My God, I appreciate you, my man. We appreciate the 4.99 super chat. We appreciate it, my God. He says, "What's your opinion on what we do or need in the draft?" Well, we've been saying it all day. We need linebackers. We need safeties.
Defensive
Uh,
end. I think
we,
even
we, we, we I think we need to
need
reload
more.
on defensive end.
Yes, we need
I
more
think
talent on the corners. We got to get more consistent pass rush.
for sure. I also think we need to reload on the offensive line as well.
A little bit.
Um, yeah, just a little bit. Because I do believe Jack Driscoll and Nate Herbig are developing to potentially maybe be quality starters. I'm not saying they're
Mhm.
going to be the most talented, but I think they can develop to be quality starters.
Yep.
Um, and then Landon
We got
Dickerson,
Dickerson,
obviously.
who's going
You
to
know,
slide into the middle next year when Kelsey retires.
right. We
So
got Melada,
yeah,
Samalu, he needs to get healthy again, but Samalu's only 27, 28. So I think we're in an all right position from an offensive line perspective. We just need to reload a little bit, but mainly
championship.
linebackers and safeties, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Linebackers, safeties, and corners. That's my
Yep.
biggest thing.
Got to get offensive guard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Other than
yeah,
that, we'd be
yeah, for
good.
sure. So what's a bold prediction for you in this game, man? We're gonna start to close this thing out. What's some bold predictions for you?
My bold prediction is that we cause 2 turnovers on defense
Mm-hmm.
and have a defensive touchdown against the Raiders.
Okay, we need it. Shoot. we need defensive points. That's the crazy thing about this offense.
Yeah, definitely. We got to have something help out the offensive side of the ball.
Right. I got a bold prediction. My bold prediction is Miles Sanders, and it's sad this is bold, but Miles Sanders, my bold prediction for Miles Sanders is he has over 100 yards rushing, he has over 50 yards catching,
Ooh,
and 2 touchdowns.
ooh,
I'm going to keep calling for it. I'm going to keep calling for it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's like the second week in a row where I've said Miles Sanders over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. I want it to happen.
yeah. I feel you on that. Definitely. I definitely would love to see that too. I really would. Um, Another bold prediction I'm going to say is that Dallas Goddard is going to lead the team in receptions, and he's going to have 2 receiving touchdowns.
Oh, Dallas Goddard. Okay, lead the team in receptions and yards, or just receptions
He's going to no, just lead the team in receptions
and 2 touchdowns.
and 2 touchdowns.
Okay, all right. Let me see if I got another one for you, man. Let me see if I got another one. A bold prediction. My other bold prediction would be, hmm. Okay, my bold prediction is this is bold. The bold prediction is we dominate time of possession.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's
We
a good one.
dominate time possession.
Because that's definitely been an Achilles heel for us this year. So if we can do that, then we have a good chance of walking out of the desert with a W. That's for sure. I like that one. Yeah. I mean, I
Mm.
think another bold prediction would be that the running back position, whether it's Gainwell or Sanders, in totality gets um, over 20 rushing attempts
Mm.
against Vegas.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, let me see. My final bold prediction for this game is okay. I'm gonna go defensive side of the ball. My second bold prediction is Alex Singleton. Alex Singleton forces a fumble, and Eric Wilson recovers it for a touchdown.
Ooh. Maybe a strip sack?
Maybe a strip sack. Maybe. But that would mean that we're blitzing 2 linebackers, because the only way he flies, the only way Eric Wilson's back there, that's bold.
That's hella bold.
That's hella bold. So yeah,
Right
Alex Singleton forces a fumble, and Eric Wilson returns it for a touchdown. That's my defensive bold prediction, you guys. And look, they're meant to be outlandish. They're meant to be unlikely because of the way this team has been playing. But hey, listen, I know you guys have so many bold predictions yourselves. Drop some bold predictions in that chat, man. Transitioning from bold predictions. Let's get into the score prediction to close this live stream out. We've been doing this for about an hour and 50 minutes, our longest pregame live stream. I love it.
Sir.
So what's your score prediction for this game, my man?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to stick to the one that I was saying earlier in the week. Even more so now that it looks like Waller is going to be at least very limited, if not out tonight or this afternoon. So I'm going to say it's going to be a close one. There's going to be some lead changes in this one, I think. But the final score is going to be 28-27 Eagles.
That's a pretty good score. That's a good score. That means that we're scoring. That means by your estimation, we're scoring 4 touchdowns.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, my score prediction for this game, it's kind of similar to yours. I was actually going to say 24-21 Eagles. That's my bold prediction for this game. Well, look at the Eagles flag right there waving. Look at that beauty.
That's how stormy it is out there. That thing's blowing. It's rainy as hell over here.
Oh man, that's fire, bro. That's crazy. But yeah, my score prediction is 24-21 Eagles, and yours is 28-27 Eagles. Okay, I can dig that. Yep. And we got another super chat from my man Patriot 1770. What?
Hey.
Yo, Patriot going 3 for 3. Another $4.99.
When it rains, it pours, baby.
When it rains, it pours. He says my bold prediction is y'all going to keep building this thing. Much love. Hey. Appreciate that, my man. Truly appreciate that. That's
salute
love,
to you,
man.
my guy. Definitely. Thank you for all the love you're showing.
That's love. Mike Smith's bold prediction is Hargrave gets 3 sacks. Okay, ooh. I dig it.
I like it, Mike. I like it.
Philly Girl 76.
That would put him at 9 sacks in 7 games.
Right, that'd be insane. Philly Girls, she said, "What's good, friends? Lurking while working. It's game day. 5 is 5. Let's go."
What up, Philly Girl? We appreciate you.
Shout out to Philly Girl. Thank you so much for locking in on the contest, sweetheart. You are appreciated. Thank you so much. Her score prediction is 21-10 Eagles. Okay.
Bird.
I'll take it. That means the defense is locking things up. They putting the clamps on them.
For sure.
Mike Smith is 24-19 Raiders. All right. Okay. Are you a Raiders fan or what, my man? Or are you just being too realistic? Damn. Way to service the poo-poo platter. Like, damn.
What about the good news bear?
Oh man. Man, bring out the fine china, man. Don't service those paper plates. Come on. Right. Oh man. But dude, this is going to be a hell of a game. We're on the road in Las Vegas. This team has to bounce back. Bottom line, this team has to bounce back. Jalen Hurts has to find a way to win this game. Nick Sirianni has to find a way to get his team in better positions. We have to win time of possession. His defense has to get enough stops for his defense to get some things going. We have to score early. We have to dominate time of possession, like I said. We have to play disciplined football, my man. And, what's your final thoughts? What's your final thoughts before we get out of here?
Just what my sign says in the background. Run the
goddamn ball.
Goddamn ball, Nick. That's it. That's my final thoughts. I don't have much else to say.
Yep, I feel you. And Philly Girl, it is a 4:00 game. Just to give you the heads, it is a 4:00 game. But Backyard Bird says bold prediction 30-21. I'm assuming you're saying 30-21 Eagles. Hey, I'll take it. Got you, man. Got you.
Birds.
But you guys, We are so grateful for you guys locking in on this live stream. You guys was coming with the bold takes. You guys were coming with so many nuanced conversations, giving us more things to discuss in this live stream. And we're so grateful to you guys, man. I'm grateful to my man Philly Foothills from the Nest Out West for always being available and always just giving us that hot fire, always keeping it fuego. You know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to my guy, man. Hey, Philly, do you want to give those guys, or give the people rather, just some final words, to take into this game?
Just keep up that electric energy that we have as a fan base, and just know that there's light at the end of the rain, at the end of the tunnel. There's always going to be brighter days ahead of us. Yes, if we're going to struggle with this young team, with this young coaching staff, but as much as we want them to win now, just try to be patient and just try to look at things look at the thing at everything in totality. Just try to keep the faith, definitely. But until you guys can always find me on Twitter at Philly Foothills or on Instagram at Philly_Foothills82.
Yep. The links are in the description, you guys. His YouTube channel and his Twitter is in the description. So if you guys want to follow Foothills on anything and subscribe, it's in the description. Get my guy all your love and support, my man. He is one of the best out here doing it. Just look at the fandom. He's holding it down on the West Coast. Look behind that guy. Look at the fandom. Like, that setup is off the charts, my man. Like, you guys are really in for a treat. We do these pre-games every week. We've done it for basically 7 consecutive weeks. Phil Hills was a little sick a couple weeks ago, coming back from the Chiefs game. I don't know if he was sick from the loss or he just had a stomach bug. But hey, listen, man, whatever it was, my guy, we've been going so hard these past several weeks, man. And I want you guys to really subscribe to my man Philly Foothills from the Nest Out West. Search the Nest Out West on YouTube. The Nest Out West. He is really one of the best doing it. He gives you guys, he's humble, gives you guys passion, give you guys great analysis, and he knows the game, holding it down on the West Coast. Eagles fan in California? Come on, man. There's so many of us all across the world. Come on, man. We're just so grateful to you guys, man. Hit that like button on the way out. Like my man Mike Smith said, the love is felt.
Yes.
The love is always felt.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is.
Man, you guys are so great. As we always say, keep it fuego with the Nest Out West. And also, you guys were tuned in to Chalk It Up, Sports Philly, and the Nest Out West. Where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love. Stay humble. Stay healthy. And most importantly, stay hungry, you guys. One love, and fly was fly. Peace out.